The last chunk of this swim section is by far the biggest chunk, and I would say probably the most valuable of the entire program. This could actually be an entire section of the video. The purpose of it is to develop the proper catch. That's the start of the movement of you doing a stroke and having a full, complete stroke that is not necessarily effortless, but it's efficient. It keeps you from getting injured. It allows you to build on a good quality stroke without developing bad habits. And it gives you a really good sense of feeling the water as opposed to fighting it, working with the water as opposed to it working against you. Because we are not focused on developing a good kick and focusing on the body roll, instead we're focusing on just the arm rotation. It's okay to use a snorkel and fins for this. So start by kicking on your stomach, not twisting at all, but just bending the elbow to 90 degrees, keeping that elbow close to the surface of the water and actually looking at it as you're doing it. Repeat this on each side over and over until you're in the habit of starting that first arm movement from the elbow with the elbow closest to the surface of the water and not raising your shoulder to do it. The only movement should be coming from your elbow. The next thing we do to build on that is that same drill, starting on your stomach, hands overhead, bending your elbow a little bit, but we add a body roll. So we're getting closer to a swim stroke by adding a body roll and then having the arm bent with the elbow close to the surface of the water, not moving the shoulder at all, that stays stationary, and then returning. The next phase is to push off the wall on your stomach, hands overhead, bend your elbow, turn your body at the same time, and start pushing back. We don't want to push all the way back and out of the water to complete the recovery of the swim stroke. We just want to push our way back all the way to a fully extended arm down by our hips. Let it dangle there for just a half a second and then bring the arm up under the water back to over your head. Then repeat with the other arm. Bent elbow, turn the body a little bit, push all the way back to your hip, and then recover under the water up to over your head. What we're doing here is eliminating as many variables as we can in the swim stroke and breaking it down into the pieces. What we did with that one is we are getting you in the habit of pushing all the way down to the end of your hip. And as you're doing this, where you want to think of your hands being is if you think about pushing yourself out of the pool and you're grabbing your hands on the pool deck, you wouldn't be doing that out here. You wouldn't be doing it out here. You wouldn't be doing it tight in here, but there's a spot that you'd think of kind of there, and that's the spot where you want to think that your hand should be as you're pushing yourself out of the water, because that's where your arms, your shoulders, your body is all going to be the strongest. So think of that sort of position for your arm. One of the drills that would really help find this position in your arm is called the skull 10 drill. Again, starting on our stomach with hands overhead, you start sculling, and that's moving your hand back and forth, grabbing little bits of the water with that bent elbow and pulling yourself forward. Do this for a count of 10. That's why it's called the skull 10 drill. So you start sculling and you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. By the time you get to 10, you push your hand out of the water and recover, and then repeat with the other arm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is going to develop a really good feeling of where your hands and your arms need to be in relation to your body. The final aspect of this build a stroke drill is to actually do a full swim stroke with the snorkel, with the fins, but do it very, very slowly, keeping in mind all the feelings and the nuances that you've built throughout these few drills. So start really slowly, making sure that you're starting a stroke with your elbow close to the surface of the water, pushing all the way back down past your hips, and then repeating with the other arm and doing it very slowly. Now, by going through this entire build a stroke process, you're going to develop a swim stroke that is efficient, that leaves you injury free. It's something that you can build off of because you haven't built up bad habits or crutches that a lot of beginner swim programs teach, this is going to develop a proper swim stroke that you can count on and build off of and become fast for years.